photography. My name is Douglas, the son of Musunga, the grandson of Modialia. So today, as we talk about mistakes that young photographers make, I'm seated with Andrew Kartende, one of those amazing photographers in Uganda. And you can check out his Instagram, his...
You can check out my Facebook, my website, and basically. You
can check him out. We'll have the links below to his Instagram and his Facebook. And today we're talking about mistakes that young photographers make. Usually as you're starting out in photography, you're all over the place. You start out, you may have a very basic camera, you're shooting in JPEG and all that. And as you grow, it's good for you to up your game so that you become a better photographer. So Andrew, what mistakes have you found that young photographers make? Or did you make any of these mistakes? What have you learned on your journey?
Well, being a young photographer is kind of tricky. Because you don't have so much, especially when you're starting up. Most people start up when it's a hobby. You start it as a hobby, so you do not have so much education, so much guidance. So you're just trying to figure out how you're going to do everything. But most of the common mistakes that people make, I think everybody has done them. We'll start off is it's a common misconception. Even people who are not photographers, I believe you think that way, and I think you should stop thinking that way. Is thinking that the camera does the work. There's this saying that I like where they say that when people who think that Picasso is a great painter because of his brush, it doesn't make any sense, It's the
okay, that is cool.
Yeah.
So Picasso wasn't a great painter because of his brush.
Yeah, it's not the tool, it's the person behind the tool.
Okay.
So when you're starting out as a young photographer, you think that, when I get the best camera, when I get a flagship camera, I'll have amazing pictures. When I get the latest camera, the latest MacBook Pro to edit my pictures, I'm gonna be amazing. Even if you get the best equipment and you don't go out there to exercise your mind, to feed your mind visually, to know which style you're going to use, you're gonna stay crappy as hell. I think being a good photographer comes from practice. You go out there, shoot, get into the right places, tell the right stories. That's how you get to grow yourself as a photographer. And also looking at other people's work.
Okay.
The mind is like it's like a recording tape. The more you expose your mind to different ideas and different styles of photography, the more you grow in your creative thinking. And also, I think another mistake that young photographers make is you need to stop shooting JPEG. I don't know how many times.
What's your experience with that? Did you, when you started out, were you shooting JPEG?
Yeah. It's a mistake I made because when you're starting out, it's the basics. You start with the basics.
So what made you switch? What did you learn that made you switch?
I think it starts with how inquisitive you are and how eager you are with the YouTube and Instagram and all the tutorials that we have online. You hear everybody, unbox therapy, everyone is talking about RAW. We have Frono's photo, he has a shot, I shoot RAW with a big word RAW. So, you can't miss this, you can't miss shooting RAW. So,
okay, I was on one Ugandan forum and there was discussion about shooting JPEG and RAW. And I was insisting that it's good for you to shoot RAW, and someone, insisted that no, you can actually get away with shooting JPEG, because a lot of these cameras are very intelligent nowadays, and you can comfortably shoot JPEG and produce good pictures, relatively good pictures. But actually, some people are able to shoot good pictures in JPEG. Why should I not simply remain shooting my JPEGs? I personally shoot RAW, but someone insisted that you can shoot JPEGs and get away with it.
Well, of course, you can't shoot JPEG because your camera has the alternative JPEG, but that doesn't mean that you must shoot JPEG. It also goes back to the advantages of shooting RAW. And also JPEG, this person shooting JPEG, what are they shooting? You also need to know what are they shooting, what kind of clients are they shooting for. When you get to a place in photography where you shoot for clients who know the kind of quality of work that they want to receive, and they need you develop a particular style of post-production. Sometimes JPEG just doesn't cut it. We have softwares like Lightroom, Capture One, On One, name it, even Photoshop. I could take the same picture and shoot JPEG plus RAW, and those two files retouched with the same exact preset will give me different results.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
So
Very true.
I mean, why wouldn't I go? I mean, I need the extra color, the extra sharpness. I mean, I need the extra metadata in there. I mean, you know, when you're doing documentary like I do, you need to be able to meta tag your pictures with Adobe Bridge. I don't know how many people use Adobe Bridge. And when we go to JPEG, mostly the issue is with the quality and how much ability you have. To what extent do you retouch your picture? To what extent does your post-production go when we are looking at RAW?
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like shooting RAW also opens up a young photographer. You're basically going to need Lightroom, you're going to need Bridge, you're going to need Photoshop, and you're going to need to know how to retouch your picture.
Okay.
And also, I mean, we have a problem sometimes. We photographers shoot under low light so much.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the biggest plus one when it comes to RAW pictures. When you're shooting in low light, you can recover so much of your detail when you're shooting a RAW picture.
Yeah, of course, that's true.
Yeah.
Very true. It becomes amazing when you're shooting with RAW. However, I would want to know, for me, when I started out as a young photographer, I had to learn a lot of things by myself. I had to go out and do research on YouTube and look for tutorials wherever I could get them. But along the way, I realized that as young photographers, a lot of people waste a lot of their time because the things that I know now, if I'd spent time with people that know the things already, it would have been much easier for me to bridge that gap. But I had to go through a long process, and many times I find young people who do not want to go to workshops, they don't want to network with the other photographers. How has that played for you?
Well, I think that should be added on our list of mistakes that young photographers make. Is being naive, and it's a big problem. Thinking that you know it all. I mean, you can never know it all. With photography, you can never know it all. You know, you're only as good as your clients.
Okay.
Yeah. I believe there is a lot of knowledge to learn. I mean, you need to grow your connections. You need to grow your social capital.
Okay.
In this industry. You need to know more people.
True.
I mean, the more people you know, the more you're going to get exposed, the more ideas you're going to get. And my experience with that is I recently got back from Foundry Photo in Kigali, and the experience I got from there was that when you're shooting in a local community, you might think you know because everybody you're around, I mean, there are certain expectations of you. But then when you get into new circles of people, your expectations are going to be stretched. You know, you're going to realize that, hey, dude, there's another step farther than what I thought I would reach, you know? You realize that there are people doing greater things than within your circles.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're challenged as an individual to work harder. And also, you look at different perspectives, especially when you look at the portfolio reviews. I mean, there's this thing, if you notice on Instagram, photographers from a certain region tend to shoot a certain way.
Yeah, true.
I mean, personally, I noticed it.
Yeah, there's a trend that happens a lot with Nigerians. There's a way that Nigerians are shooting. There's a way that Kenyans are shooting.
Yes.
I've noticed quite a little bit, because I follow quite a bit of Nigerians and Kenyans. I don't follow so many other people on the continent, but the people in West Africa shoot a certain way.
Yeah, so when you get to meet these photographers like Nigerians, you interact with people from Scotland, Australia, and you see what is good to them, you know, because in the end, you need those international relations. I mean, sometimes you need to get published. Like, let's say if you do documentaries, you're doing a story, and you want it to appeal to an Australian audience, a Dutch audience, yeah? You need to have a mind of someone from that country to critique your work and tell you, you know what, this is good, this is a good story, but I'll do it this way, or I don't like your style, or, you know, it's...
But I've also gotten to learn and appreciate that here on the African continent, we have a little bit of limitations. Like when I was starting out as a photographer, it's a little bit hard for you to get quality equipment here in the country. And we normally don't have dealerships that are bringing us here the cameras and stuff like that. And by the time it gets here, I don't know, for a young photographer, because usually by the time stuff gets here, it costs an arm and a leg. So what's your experience with that?
Well, depending on the kind of photography that you do.
Mm-hmm.
I would urge you, for the sake of documentary, I would urge you that the kind of camera you have doesn't matter.
Okay.
What matters is the story. Because I do documentary, I can't speak from that perspective. Because when it comes to fashion, you need the best of the best. I mean, you need the megapixels, you need the sharp crisp pictures, but I don't do fashion. So, but if you're doing storytelling and documentary, it's basically the camera that you have with you that matters. Because I mean, we've had people publish stories when they've done them with their phones. I mean, the people who won awards taking pictures with their iPhones. So it doesn't really necessarily mean that you need to have the best equipment.
So have you always been shooting documentary and fashion? And storytelling, or did you start out a bit all over the place? Done this and the other.
I mean, you definitely start off as a jack of all trades, because you just want in the beginning you just want to use your camera. Yeah, you just want to use your camera. Hey, I have a birthday. You go. You just want to make use of your camera. Then later on, you reach a point of, can I say, self-actualization, where you're drawn towards a certain kind of photography. Let's say you're into fashion, you're into events, you're into headshots and studio photography. There is something that will always make you more excited than the other. So personally, I mean, over the course of the year, I mean, I think I've been drawn by, I followed the money, I'll be honest. Yeah,
follow the money.
Yeah.
Chakawi.
I mean,
For those who don't speak English, Chakawi means school.
Personally, I've followed the money. So I used to do a lot of weddings, but weddings can be a lot of stress as well.
Weddings are actually a lot of work. I still do weddings every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because I have clients who know that I can shoot good pictures. And every once in a while, someone will hire me if I'm available.
Yep.
They'll hire me to shoot a wedding, and but it's quite a lot of work. And many of our clients in Uganda have not gotten to the level where they really appreciate the input. Now the days when people ask me, what are you bringing to the table that's different from what I can do on my phone? The days I'll get sarcastic and like, you want to shoot your wedding on your phone? Please try it out. Please try it out. It'll be good. So, they're a lot of work. Weddings are quite a lot of work, and yeah. Yeah,
and I feel now another mistake that young photographers make is deleting files on camera.
Okay.
I mean, I used to do that a lot. I mean, I used to think that it's going to save me a lot of time during post-process, but then you need to take time. You need to give yourself time. I mean, I shoot a lot. I mean, that's something that I've learned through the years of photography and through mentorships. I mean, I've learned you need to shoot a lot. I mean, you can take the same picture 4 times and there will be 4 different pictures when you're looking at them in post-production. So you cannot, in the moment, during a set, know which picture is going to work best for you. Okay. Because, I mean, you're stressed out, I mean, you're going to take other pictures. So it's good for you to copy all the files from your camera and look at them carefully later on and then make the best selection.
Okay, let me do a comparison with this. If on a day you were shooting a wedding and it's easier to compare when you're talking about a wedding much as you do storytelling and documentary. If you're shooting a wedding, for Ugandan weddings, we start out in the morning with the makeup, the ladies and all that, all the way to the last dance. So it's usually a couple of hours, it's over 10 hours of one event. And so how many pictures do you come off with at an event? About how many files?
If I was shooting a wedding, I would come up with about 1,500 photos.
1,500?
Yeah, that, and then I would cut that down to about 400 or 500.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, there are days when I've come with so many files from one event, but for me, what has worked nowadays is I try to shoot a little bit less. I don't shoot too much. Though I like to double click on my shutter every time I'm shooting. Many times I'll take the picture twice. Of course, at times when I'm using light modifiers or speed lights or something, at times the refresh rate for my light modifier or speed light may not be as fast. So at times it may not work right when I shutter twice. So but no, that's a trick I've learned to do. So many times, because you may have a blink in one picture and the next one is okay. So at times I do that. Yeah. A couple of times actually, not just a times. So I do that quite a bit. So typically for a wedding, some long weddings nowadays I could go 1,500. Back in the day I used to go 2,000 or more. And nowadays even if I walked away from a wedding with 1,000 or 800 pictures, I'll be happy. Sure. If I have 800 good pictures that I can narrow down, maybe lose about 300, 100 or something, I'll be happy with that. So, because it reduces my level of work, because I know it's quite a lot of work. And going through 1,000 pictures, if you're spending about between 5 and 10 minutes on each picture when you're doing the post-processing, I think it's quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
So.
And then also, another thing I think I made as a young photographer, and it's a serious loop that you need to get out of, is the issue of pricing.
Okay.
You'll end up getting stuck in what I call the vicious cycle of low-paid jobs. Like
How do you handle your pricing? How do you do that?
Basically, I mean, it's a hustle because sometimes you need the money, but the vicious cycle of low-paid jobs is you're gonna work for little money, and then spend that money in like a day or two, and then another client is gonna call you, and then you'll be desperate. Then you're going to charge little money again because you need the job so bad. And then it's just going to go on and on and on.
So it becomes a cycle.
Yeah, it becomes a cycle. It's you're working from like food from paid job to another. Like you're living off the check. Yeah. But then
So it's hand to mouth, right?
Yes, hand to mouth. So I mean it's hard to get out of, but then you need to give yourself a break. You need to know that I need at least 4 months basically to get into the right circles, get into the right clientele that are gonna you should be able to leave as a freelancer. You should be able to leave at least 3 months without a job and you're okay. Otherwise, I mean, the best idea in any negotiation is you need to be willing to say no.
Okay.
That is the best tactic in a negotiation. So if you go there with the mindset of how am I gonna pay my rent next month or what, then you're doomed. They're going to charge you're going to end up working for peanuts, and then the budgets will actually be higher. So. And I've also gotten to lose clients who think you're too cheap.
True.
Yeah.
True,
I mean, when you're starting out, I mean, someone calls you and they expect you because maybe your work is good. Because sometimes when you're starting out, you have a different approach, you have a different style,
Yeah, true.
and people like your work, and then they contact you and they see your pricing and like this can't be right. You Yeah, so
that maybe he's getting somebody good.
Yeah, so I think pricing is something that young photographers, you need to start out. You need to set a standard for yourself if you're going to grow in the industry, and stop charging little money. I mean, it kills the industry. It also kills you as an individual, and you will not grow. Yeah, that's what I think. And lastly, I think a problem that I see commonly nowadays with the photographers starting up is do not mistake social media success and likes to be your success as a photographer.
How does one get their success? Is success how many people know you, kind of jobs you get, or what comes into your bank account at the end of the day?
Personally, I feel it's what comes at your bank account at the end of the day. I mean, That's what I think. I mean, and it's you doing what you love. And I mean, remember the start we spoke about the type of photography that you're doing. If you call yourself a wedding photographer, but 90% of your paychecks come from studio photography, then dude, you're not a wedding photographer. You should be a studio photographer, because that's where you earn most of the money. Yeah, so I feel like so many photographers feel like they're successful because they're let's say they have 1 million followers on Instagram or something, but that doesn't necessarily translate
to money.
Yes, that doesn't necessarily. So you should work at building the real social capital of social media. You need to relate with clients. You need to build clientele. You need to have contracts. You need. I mean, at the end of the day, you need to survive.
Okay, that was the list there, and maybe you can just take us quickly through that list that you had today. Well, it's very important for you as a photographer, as a young photographer that's starting out, to grow in your game. Learn from those who have gone ahead of you. It's not important for you to reinvent the wheel. So just take us through that list again. And
it's the first thing was
well, it's very important for you as a photographer, as a young photographer that's starting out, to grow in your game. Learn from those who have gone ahead of you. It's not important for you to reinvent the wheel. So just take us through that list again.
First thing was thinking the camera does the work.
Okay, number one.
Problem. And number two is shooting JPEG. Please stop shooting JPEG.
Don't shoot JPEG.
Number three is using your pop-up flash, guys. stop using the pop-up.
But we didn't talk about
We
that.
didn't talk about that, but it just came into...
No, but you know, once in a while, a pop-up flash can come in handy.
Yeah, whatever.
If you know how to regulate its power, know that in some circumstances, it's maybe the only thing that you have to run to.
Ever wondered why flagships don't have pop-ups?
Well, yeah, but still, it could be the only thing you have to.
Please let us know in the comments why you think flagship cameras don't have pop-ups.
Okay, we're going on. That was number 3. Don't
Yeah.
use your pop-up.
Number 4 is deleting files on camera.
Don't delete files
Don't
while
delete
shooting.
files on camera.
Okay.
Number
good.
5 is pricing. Set your pricing right. Stop doing
Okay.
low-paid jobs.
Set your pricing right from the
Yes.
very start. Uh-huh.
Yes, and number 6 is mistaking social media likes for success. And
Okay.
then lastly,
Social media likes don't necessarily translate to
to
success.
success.
Okay,
Yes, you need the real social capital. I mean, in real life, you need to come out, step
Okay.
out of the house, and do the hard work.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
so go out, meet people, you know that.
Yes,
Those,
people-
you could balance out with social media, but don't do everything on social media. Go
Yes.
out and shoot pictures, meet people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Collaborate.
lastly, I think most young photographers starting out need to do like a beginner course on editing. I mean, sometimes editing is not all about filters, making
okay.
your pictures red and
Well-
plastic and
Doing editing, I think there's a lot of knowledge nowadays online,
yeah.
and I've learned a ton of things from online on YouTube on different tutorials. However, talking about doing courses, I think doing workshops whenever there's an opportunity to be good for someone.
Yeah.
It has worked in my case. I've done a couple of workshops with in Uganda, the UPPA.
Yeah, you're gonna press
And-
photo awards.
Yeah, you're gonna press forwards, and that has been good for me. I've done a few with back in the day with Bayimba, and I've learned quite a lot, and it has helped me also to network with other people, know how they shoot, what the experiences are, so I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, and then most importantly, YouTube. I mean, you have it on your phone. I mean, that is the best place for knowledge as far as creatives. I mean, I learned most of my editing off YouTube.
Okay.
So I feel like, man, every minute you have, I mean, whatever time you have, you just watch a tutorial or two before you go to sleep. I mean, yeah, it helps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, you heard it from the man himself. That's Andrew Kartende, one of the most amazing photographers in Uganda. Well, we do collaborations with Andrew Kartende every once in a while. We collaborate on different things, and we'll be producing a number of presets for you that we're going to give away for free. So make sure that and please give us some comments, subscribe to the channel, and let everyone know about it. This is Africa Photography. My name is Douglas.
And
God
do
bless.
attend it.